I was very happy because I was just about to go to a shop close to me called Sunbeam to fit a steering wheel that Momo sponsored me, custom built, and the car died halfway there. And then I got to Sunbeam and they couldn't fit the steering wheel. It was missing some parts or something, and I had to walk like 4 or 5 kilometers back home. So it was like, I think it was like crying and laughing at the same time, like how many things can go wrong in this car.
Hey Dino, welcome to our What's Your Story series, where we get our friends to share about their love for cars and how they began their journey.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. Please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your background and interests.
Oh man, how much detail do you want?
All the way back.
All the way back.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm Dino Dalle Carbonare. I'm from Italy originally. I've been living in Japan for 31 years, and thus kind of generated this real deep interest in the JDM side of things when it comes to cars, obviously. I started out working for car magazines back in the day. When that kind of, dwindled away in the late, 2000s.
Yeah.
I got hit up by Electronic Arts, and they were basically starting this blog to go alongside Need for Speed to create kind of an online space for game players to enjoy, read up on, and kind of learn about global car culture. And that became speedhunters.com, which still runs today. So from 2008 onwards, we've been active. And on the side of that, I've been pushing my own channel lately.
Yes.
Dino DC. Basically trying to do what I've done for the past decade and a bit on Speed Hunters, just on the video kind of platform. Kind of educating people, kind of showing them what Japan is all about, the different styles, the legendary shops, basically everything that is cool about the JDM scene in Japan. So that kind of sums it up, I think.
Wow. That's just awesome, I think. I've been watching the new videos that have been coming out from your channel. I think it's a great insight. I think it's a very honest video. You get to see things behind the scenes, meet some of the people, and it's raw. Yeah. And I think that works.
Well, it's just me basically kind of like commenting what I see.
Yeah.
Which is pretty much the approach I've had with photography. It's me walking into a shop, asking a bunch of questions, taking a bunch of pictures, and then piecing an article together. It's just, now I'm doing it in real time while I'm there, camera in my face, basically, and kind of doing it like that.
One question. Why did it take you so long before you got on to video?
So I actually wanted to do this way back.
Okay.
And I did originally want to push Speed Hunters to do video. But at the time, the aim was very much photography. So kind of put that in the, back burner for a few years. Then when it came to deciding that I should probably start doing something like that, I didn't want to just start and kind of do it wrong. So I spent many years, call it procrastination, call it what you will, kind of researching and kind of figuring out how it would look. But it didn't really click until I met that guy over there.
Oh, who's
called
that guy
Alec.
over there? Can we see the guy over there? Come over here, man. The guy over here.
We're going to show the other part too, right? You can't be
the
behind
guy's
the
working
camera.
hard behind the cameras.
So it was when I met Alec like a year and a bit ago that it all kind of came together. Because it's not only about being in the place and knowing, understanding the scene. It's having somebody that works with you that understands it at the same level you do and that has the passion to go alongside with things that we do. And then it kind of just came together.
Thank you for giving him that nudge.
Thank you for the cameo.
Guys, Alec, what's in your garage right now?
Well, I live in Tokyo, so a garage is basically something that a billionaire would have. So I have car spaces.
Okay.
So right now I still have my R34 GTR. I have my 964, which I recently unveiled on the channel. That's starting off as a project. I have the BMW 440 convertible. That's my wife's car. It's also a Speed Hunters project car and kind of Dino DC project car as well. I have a little Jimny, which we'll talk about in the coming months on the channel as well.
That's a surprise.
That's something fun, something different that I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And then actually yesterday I picked up a Velfire because I have 3 kids and I need to, have a lot of room for them to move around in a vehicle and stay away from me, 3rd row, so I can bring them around and,
Hey, soccer
entertain them,
dad.
I guess, but with style. It's a V6, so it's actually smooth, powerful, quiet.
I'm laughing, but yeah, I drive regular cars as well.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so what's in the works in terms of the cars, and what have you planned for them?
So yeah, basically the GTR I kind of stored away for about 5 years. So once we had twins, life got really, complicated, hectic, you name it. So put the car away. It was pretty much at the time that, R34 prices started going a bit crazy. So I kind of stopped, fiddling around with it until I felt that it was a good time to start, figuring things out again. Did I want to do stuff that I could never go back on, or should I continue on the road I was in? I kind of rethought stuff a lot. So basically pulled out the car out of storage last year. We launched it on the channel, pulled off the wrap that was put in 2018 for Tokyo Auto Salon, and then slowly bringing it back to like a nice spec.
Okay.
I think what I want to do is continue with the engine work and refine that. It's still a stock-based engine. I have aftermarket turbos. I need to refine the ECU settings now. That's the only thing that remains to be done before I can re-register a car and use it on the road. For the past year, I've been getting the temporary plates for 4 or 5 days so I can, go out and shoot and do stuff with Larry when he came over. So that's on its way, slowly but surely.
Okay.
Then, of course, the parts for Nissans are like silly money these days. So I had to kind of rethink a lot of stuff, but just keeping it simple, basically restoring what breaks, fiddling around with what makes sense to kind of upgrade. That's the path. Sort of doing the same with the 964. I just lowered the car on KW V3s, so it now handles and sits perfectly. I still have the stock wheels on, but I replaced the tires, the 13-year-old tires, with some Yokohama Niova 8009s. So now it has grip, it has handling. I can figure out the next steps. I have to pretty much address every single part of that car.
Okay.
From the engine, it's 180,000 kilometers on that thing. So I did half of kind of like a reseal.
Okay.
When I first got it 7 years ago.
Yeah.
It will definitely need an engine rebuild very soon. The interior needs a lot of work, the electronics, there's a lot of stuff that's broken, cracked. And I'll take advantage of that fact to kind of refine it and turn it into something that kind of reflects what I think would be a nice Explorer. I always quote the fact that I drove a Singer back in the day, I think 2016. I had the chance to sample the Dubai Commission, the 4-liter, and that blew my mind. And it was that moment that I said, I need a nice Explorer in my life, and that happened. Main thing that a lot of people will probably have noticed that it's a Tiptronic.
Yes.
So a manual swap is very much in order.
Okay.
I don't really know which direction I want to move, with that. G50s are so expensive, it doesn't really make sense. There's a lot of people playing around with other transmissions, so maybe I'll look into that.
Yeah.
The Jimny, I'll leave that to the channel to explain.
Sure.
The BMW.
Back to the 964. You've already revealed to the channel what you're doing next with the car, right?
Well, I'm talking to a guy called Nakai. Akira Nakai is having a think maybe we should take a specific route with that visually.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do that myself.
Yeah.
As I explained on the video that kind of introduces the car to the channel. I was right there when Nakai was kind of beginning, seeing him at Scuba the first few times, and it's a look that really impressed me. And I've been on so many builds, and I've seen Nakai grow so much over the last almost 2 decades. And I just feel that having one of his cars in my stable would make so much sense.
And you've got the 964.
And I got the right car to do it.
It's the right car.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I think. For
And the color's pretty sick too.
It's perfect with that one, right?
At least for me.
It's same here.
So we'll see later on in the year if something happens there. But basically everything I refine and change in the car has to be either an improvement, or something different. Either reflecting a different flavor or taste that I have, or just improving mechanically, aesthetically, or technologically. If there's an upgrade in technology, I would like to have that in my car. Same that I did with the GTR. So kind of following the same path.
Okay. And your BMW?
BMW, well, it's probably going to get replaced at the end of this year. I'm not sure with what yet, but it's a great car. It's a great daily, and it's fun to actually have a convertible in Tokyo. Driving with the top down in Tokyo is a lot of fun. You get to see a whole different kind of like view of the city. I've always enjoyed that, and Japan is great for that kind of off season. Like September to December is beautiful to kind of keep the top down. It's really good weather. Not so much in the summer; it gets a bit too hot. Kind of like here.
Right.
Actually, hotter than here right now.
You flew in from summer to a Malaysian summer.
Yeah, tropics basically. But it's always evolving.
Awesome. Looks like you've got all your plans dialed up for the cars. What sparked your passion for cars?
So it's funny you asked this because it was one of our first Speed Hunter stories when each of us joined. Like, where does that passion come from? And I had to kind of sit down and think about it. But it was probably when I was like 2 to 3 years old. My parents used to take me to local hill climb races where we come from in Italy, North Italy. There was always like prototypes running and modified street cars, rally cars, a bunch of mix of cars kind of running up this mountain pass with 10 hairpin bends. And I really still to this day remember the sounds and the smells from those days. And I think that's what kind of triggered it, because every time you stick your head in a race car or a sports car, you get the same kind of impact, right? So
correct.
I think that was probably be the beginning of it for me.
Favorite car of that era?
It was, let's skip eras.
Okay.
It's going to date us.
Okay, yes, it will.
Yeah, late 70s.
Yeah, we shall keep it as that.
Yeah.
It sounds evil. Could you describe your dream car and why it holds a special place in your heart?
Dream car. It would probably have to be the Ferrari 40. It holds a special place in my heart because it was pretty much around at the time that I really started going very crazy on cars. And I think it just summed up so much of what was right at that time. And it was very much the last car that Ferrari could have built in that shape and form. And in the way that they built it, that car came out of a incredible project. Like literally Enzo Ferrari mandating that they create this crazy prototype to kind of homologate, the racing stuff. And I think it just is the rawest form of a modern day Ferrari. If you can still call it modern day.
Would you call it modern day? I don't think any of the modern day Ferraris
Like it's
ever matched what the F40 was.
like, I mean, modern day Ferraris would be, all the electronics you get today, but it's still very much that car that was in the middle of like the 70s, 80s, which were honestly pigs to drive. And then what came after that, which progressively got better, but then they had so many problems with electronics. It was still very much analog and very much drivable, but you have to be a wild driver to handle that thing. I've been in a few. I've never been able to drive one, mainly because I can't fit in one. So if I find an owner of an F40 that's probably my height,
shout out
and
now,
my
owner
girth,
of an F40,
that has the right seating arrangement, maybe I could take one out. I'll probably be very scared, but I think it just sums up what a car should be all about. Raw, a little bit scary, a little bit twitchy, a little bit, it just makes you alive with
in your
feedback.
own opinion, has Ferrari ever built a car that has exceeded that? It's a tough question.
I mean, performance-wise, yeah, of course. The
Yeah.
stuff they build today is absolutely astronomically fast. Like, we took out a 296 GTV last year, and it blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like, it's so fast, so potent.
Yeah.
It's just the electronics and the screens and the switch gear and the way things are lit. It's just little things like that that annoy me. If that was just as analog as the F40 would have been at the same time, I think it would have been like the perfect car.
I think what you said sums up our thoughts, at least for our young generation. What year were we in? Yeah. It's about the analog feel of cars. You don't want modern day electronics and all the gizmos to interrupt the driving pleasure or the difficulty to drive a car.
It's tough because, in today's day and age, you need to have those safety measures. And I think allowing them to help you, but not take away from the driving experience is the fine point between doing it right and doing it wrong. I think Porsche really nails it the way they do. That's why the GT3 and the GT3 RS are such good cars. I haven't driven the RS yet, But from all the reviews I've seen, I obviously they have made it like quite a special car. I have driven a 992 GT3 manual.
Yeah.
It was just sublime in every way. So I really do kind of respect what Porsche has done for the enthusiasts. Yeah.
Somehow I think they preserve the whole motorsports aspect of things, and that translates to how raw a car can feel with that whole motorsports flavor, and that keeps it original.
I think it's so good. It's because they run the Porsche Cup.
Yes, they do.
So the GT3 Cup cars,
Yes.
and then one
Yes.
step over that with
Yes.
the RSRs. I think it's because of those cars that they're able to take that motorsport
Yes.
analog feel
Yeah.
into their road cars.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that program or those
Yeah.
two programs, I don't think they could be that close to perfection.
Not many manufacturers have done that.
Yeah, Ferrari
Yeah.
does it too, but I think it leans a bit too much on electronics, honestly.
Yes. Yeah. Could you share a philosophical perspective on life that has significantly impacted you?
Oh, we're going deep now.
Oh, we're going deep. We're going deep.
I don't know. I think I've always kind of had this thing of just do it. Like if it's something you feels right inside you and you need to do it, but you're afraid to take that step, just do it. If you need to go to somebody and ask them something, hey, do you want to do something? Maybe let's film a car together. Just do it. Just ask. Like if they say no, at least you ask. There's no point in kind of like being reserved. If you need to kind of get to a specific point, and that requires you to ask people
Or overthink.
but not
Yeah.
even overthink. Just like take a step.
Okay.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Don't waste time.
Was there a specific example where that worked very well for you?
Probably like everything I've ever done professionally, like there's always been that thing about like, reaching out to people, reaching out to companies to work with them, collaborate. Do you want to do something together? Even like I've worked with Pagani as a consultant. It wouldn't have worked if I didn't ask. Like, do you guys actually need help
Yeah,
here?
yeah.
And half of the time it's a yes. So don't be afraid to ask. Push yourself outside of the comfort zone, and usually shit will happen.
Just do it.
As Nike said.
As Nike said. What would be the one thing most people would not know about you?
I don't know that I'm Italian.
That we know.
Everybody thinks I'm American for some reason. I don't know.
Not the Asian side, we know.
A lot of people think I'm Japanese because I've been in Japan way too long.
How many years? I think you shared. it was
31.
Like, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And your GTR was purchased there. First
1999.
owner, yeah? Amazing. What was your first car?
Citroen AX.
Oh, you remember?
Oh yeah, of course. 1 liter splash.
When?
Oh god, university years. 96.
And the gearbox?
Oh yeah, of course. Manual.
Yeah, manual.
Manual.
Okay.
I learned Scandinavian flicks with that car and lift off oversteer around roundabout because I went to the university in the UK. On wet tarmac with tires like that thin, it's amazing how you can make a front wheel drive, front engine car slide.
If I'm not mistaken, they had an automated transmission for that, right? Was it an assisted automatic?
Oh no, it was a full
Only
manual.
full manual?
Oh yeah, manual.
Okay,
manual,
okay.
yeah.
I think there was one of the Citroens at that era where they shifted to that automatic shift, but it was assisted, and it was not really great in terms of the capability of the transmission.
No, mine was a thoroughbred race
full-
course. Yeah.
Great. Could you describe your funniest moment with your car?
It's an interesting question. I think the one that it was almost like borderline crying or laughing. It was with a 964 in the midst of that period where it didn't really function so well. I was very happy because I was just about to go to a shop close to me called Sunbeam to fit a steering wheel that Momo sponsored me, custom built, and the car died halfway there. So I ended up like getting my kids to help push start it.
How many of them were in the car?
They were all pushing it. It's pretty light, so you managed to start it. And then I got to Sunbeam, and they couldn't fit the steering wheel because like was missing some parts or something. And then the car died there, and I had to walk like 4 or 5 kilometers back home. So it was like, I think it was like crying and laughing at the same time. Like how many things can go wrong in this car?
Ouch. That's one for the memory books. Perspective versus perception. Your thoughts on it?
I think you should always have perspective because that's from you, right? I mean, depending on what we're talking about, I think you should always rely on your own personal experience. rather than trusting people's opinions on stuff. You can use it as guideline, maybe. It's very general.
It is. It is. What's your ideal car?
Fast, manual, and a little bit scary.
Which one?
R34 GTR,
What color would it be?
Bayside Blue.
What's your ideal weekend?
Barbecue, lots of beer.
I want to ask with or without the kids, but let's skip that one. Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert.
What's your favorite hobby?
Cars.
I've got no comeback for that one. What's your favorite movie?
Back to the Future.
1, 2, or?
One.
That pretty much wraps up our interview for today. Thank you. Thank you for being with us.
No problem. Thank you. It's been an interesting experience.
We're good? It's a wrap, guys? Double check. Was it all recording? Okay.
No, we're going to do it again. What's your story?